The better you do your job, the more you get punished for it. And there's a cold economic reason why, one that almost no hard-working person ever figures out until it's too late. Here's how it plays out. You're good. You deliver. So you get handed more work. The difficult project lands on your desk because you're the only one who can handle it. The struggling teammates' tasks get quietly shifted to you because you're reliable. Your reward for excellence is a heavier load. Same pay, same title, just more. Meanwhile, the mediocre performer beside you, who does the bare minimum, is left alone, protected by their own uselessness. You're being penalized for being good. And you probably think it's just bad luck or a bad boss. It isn't. It's economics. This isn't motivation. Nobody's going to tell you to advocate for yourself and leave it there. This is something a man understood 2,300 years ago. A man so coldly precise about power and incentives that historians call him the Chinese Machiavelli, except he came 1,500 years before Machiavelli was born. His name was Han Fei. He built an entire philosophy around one idea. People and systems respond to incentives, not to fairness. And once you understand the incentive you've accidentally created, you'll see exactly why your competence became your punishment. By the end of this, you'll never look at being the reliable one the same way again. Let's start with the economics, and it has a name. The principle that you get more of what you reward and less of what you punish. Every system, every organization, every relationship runs on incentives, the invisible structure of rewards and consequences that shapes behavior far more powerfully than anyone's intentions. And here's the trap that catches high performers. When you do excellent work quickly and without complaint, you have accidentally taught the system that giving you more work is free. There's no cost to piling it on you. You absorb it, you deliver, you don't push back. So the system, behaving exactly as systems do, gives you more because you've made yourself the cheapest place to put the extra load. This is where Han Fei's sharpest idea comes in. He taught that the way you control any actor is through two handles: reward and punishment. Whoever controls what you gain and what you lose controls your behavior. But he also understood the flip side, the part that destroys high performers. You teach others how to treat you by what you reward and what you punish through your own responses. When you accept extra work with a smile, you reward the system for exploiting you. When you never make overload cost anyone anything, you've removed the only handle that would make them stop. You've trained your own employer to overuse you, the same way a person trains a dog, not with words, but with consequences. And the consequence you've been providing is, pile it on, nothing bad happens to me when I do. Think about what actually determines who gets dumped on in any workplace. It's not fairness, it's the path of least resistance. Work flows like water toward whoever absorbs it with the least friction. The complainer, the one who pushes back, the one who says, I can take that on, but something else has to come off my plate, creates friction, and systems avoid friction. So the work reroutes around them, toward the person who offers no resistance at all. The reliable, uncomplaining high performer. Your reliability isn't being rewarded, it's being exploited precisely because it's reliable. Pause for a second and ask yourself honestly. In your work, are you the person things get dumped on because you'll handle it without friction? And has all that handling actually translated into more money and more advancement? Or just more work? Be honest. One word, hold it, because most high performers have never once separated being valued from being used, and the two feel similar right up until you burn out. Now let's look at the economics operating in the real world, because this pattern has been measured. Studies of workplaces have found something disturbing. When high performers are given more work as a reward for competence, without corresponding increases in pay, authority, or recognition, they don't just get tired, They eventually disengage or leave, while the organization often fails to even notice what it lost until it's gone. The most capable people are frequently the most exploited and the least protected, because their competence makes them the convenient dumping ground. Economists studying this call it, bluntly, the penalty for competence, and consider the reverse. The strange safety of mediocrity. The employee who is just barely good enough to not get fired but not good enough to be handed the hard problems has stumbled into a protected position. Nobody gives them the impossible project because they can't be trusted with it. They coast, protected by low expectations, while the star burns out beside them, carrying 3 people's work. This is why you so often see, in large organizations, the frustrating spectacle of the hardest workers being the most stressed and least rewarded, while the coasters glide along untouched. It's not that the system loves mediocrity, it's that the system routes its burdens toward whoever will carry them for free and punishes excellence by taxing it. So what does Han Fei's logic tell you to do? Not to become mediocre. That's the wrong lesson. The lesson is, stop providing the incentive that gets you exploited. Reintroduce cost. Make your excellence something the system has to pay for, not something it gets to strip mine for free. The first move is to attach a price to additional work, not a refusal, a price. I can take the new project on. Which of my current priorities should I drop? Or what does this mean for my compensation and title? This single question changes the economics. Suddenly piling work on you is no longer free. It has a cost, a negotiation, a trade-off, a claim on advancement. And the moment overloading you has a cost, the system does the math and often stops, or finally pays you what the load is worth. The second move is to make your excellence visible and attributed, not absorbed and invisible. The high performer's other mistake is doing the critical work quietly, so it gets folded into the background as just what they do. Han Fei taught that the ruler rewards based on what he can see and measure. If your best work is invisible, it cannot be rewarded. It can only be expected. Make the value you create legible. Named, measured, tied to outcomes the people with power actually care about. Invisible excellence gets exploited. Visible, attributed excellence gets promoted. The third move is the hardest for a conscientious person. Let some things fail that are not yours to save. The high performer's compulsion to rescue every dropped ball, cover every gap, fix every problem, is exactly what teaches the system it never has to solve its own dysfunction because you'll always absorb it. Sometimes the most valuable thing you can do is let a problem that isn't yours remain visibly unsolved so that the real cost of the system's dysfunction lands where it belongs instead of quietly on you. Now, I want to be clear because this is not an argument for laziness or for becoming someone who does poor work. Excellence is still the foundation. Without it, you have no leverage at all. The point is that excellence without a price attached is not an asset. It's an all-you-can-eat buffet, and the system will eat until you're empty. This isn't about doing less good work. It's about refusing to let your good work be free, unlimited, and invisible. Value what you produce enough to make others value it too. Here's the truth underneath all of it. Systems are not moral. They don't reward goodness because it's good. They respond to incentives relentlessly and without conscience. And the incentive most high performers accidentally create is, exploiting me costs nothing. Fix that one incentive. Make your excellence something that must be paid for, negotiated with, and seen. And the same competence that made you a target makes you powerful instead. So let's go back to where we started. You doing excellent work, getting handed more of it, watching the coasters float by untouched, and wondering why being good feels like a punishment. It felt like a punishment because it was one, the predictable output of an incentive you didn't know you were setting. But you set the incentive, which means you can change it. The moment your excellence stops being free, everything shifts. So don't think about how to prove yourself by absorbing even more. Think about who you're becoming, not the reliable one that the system quietly strip mines until there's nothing left. Someone whose excellence has a price on it, visible, valued, and impossible to exploit for free. And here's the thing. Han Fei was one of an entire generation of Chinese minds who understood how incentives, power, and human systems actually work, while everyone else believed the comfortable story that good work is simply rewarded. We're decoding every one of them, one mind at a time. If this explained even one thing about why your competence keeps costing you, then you already understand why most high performers will keep absorbing more, quietly burning out, calling it dedication. A few will attach a price to their excellence instead. Decide which one you are.